Our spaceship is generally pretty clean, with everything put where it belongs, so I carried the tall armload of supplies without worrying about where I put my feet. But just as I reached the open door of the main storage hold, something under my shoe squeaked. I jumped back, managing not to drop anything as I whipped the stack sideways to get a look at whatever it was. My ears and foot had already decided that it was a dog toy, and my eyes agreed. Small, fuzzy and red, vaguely squirrel-shaped, crinkly, with a squeaker inside. I nudged it to the side of the passageway, wondering. We didn't have a dog on board. We did have a cat. My cat, technically. But I'd never bought her this. Did it get sent to us accidentally, stuck to the side of a box or something? Or did one of my alien crewmates buy it without telling me? At any rate, my arms were too full to risk bending over now. I'd give the thing a closer inspection after I put away the spare bandages and soap, or whatever else was in here. I headed into the storage hold, expecting to find someone else unpacking the other boxes from the supply run. Instead, I found the pile of boxes unattended except for Telly the cat, who was mid-butt wiggle and ready to pounce. Since the door was already open, I didn't make any noise loud enough to disturb her. She just flicked an ear in my direction and stayed focused on her quarry, something black that was sticking out from behind the largest crate. In the time it took me to recognize that as the foot of one of my more insect-like crewmates, Telly sprang at it. I made a garbled warning. That's not a toy. That's a foot. Trilly's foot. Do not startle her. She'll eat you. But the foot zipped out of sight before Telly landed, leaving her to peer around the crate to see where it had gone. Before I could put down my armload and scoop her up, something unfolded from the shadows between two crates, a shiny black pincher arm that reached out stealthily to tap her on the hindquarters. Telly jumped in feline surprise, then bolted at the hissing laughter that filled the air. She zipped out the door. I heard someone nearly trip over her in the hall. Still clutching my armload of supplies, I watched as my tallest and scariest crewmate got to her feet from what must have been an awkward position behind the boxes, still laughing. I asked, "Were you playing with her?" Trilly angled her antenna in disapproval, regarding me with large, faceted eyes. "Predator games," she informed me, as is only proper. I set the boxes down on the floor. "Right. Of course. So, did you buy her the dog toy?" I grabbed it from outside. "That is a model fur squeak," Trilly corrected me, "for hatchling warrior training." "I see," I said, squeaking it experimentally. It still looked like a dog toy. Under Trilly's glare, I considered my words carefully. "You know, if you roll something small across the floor, she'll probably chase it." "Excellent," Trilly said with dignity. "That will be the next game." I was going to ask something else. Then I noticed a trio of parallel scrapes on Trilly's left pincher arm, faint against the black exoskeleton. "Did she scratch you?" Trilly lifted the arm with what looked like pride. "It was a magnificent jump. She's a mighty warrior." I had to agree. "Yes, she is. You should see her chase a laser pointer." Trilly looked extremely interested. "Do tell." I described the time-honored cat enrichment device, made sure Trilly's tiny wrist fingers were up to manipulating the human tool, then trotted off to get the one I had in my quarters. I made a mental note to buy another one before we left the station. There had been a couple shops likely to carry them, and Trilly would probably want to keep this one. Maybe they even sell catnip, I thought. Though that's a bit too lackadaisical for predator games. Wonder if I can find a remote control mouse. But that would give Paint a heart attack if she ran into it. Crinkly toys, though. Those could be the way to go. This was only a minor detour from loading the supplies. Everyone knew it was important to keep the various predators entertained. I was looking forward to watching Telly chase things, too.